Greetings ladies and gentlemen, my name is GRM Adrian and I welcome you back to my channel. This is part 2 of my Elder Scrolls Online coverage, so if you haven't seen part 1 where I talked about the 10 reasons for new players to check out ESO, go take a look and you can find links in the info and description box below. So in the last video I pointed out the positives for new players and there are many. I also saluted the game for how much it has changed since launch. But just like all MMOs, the Elder Scrolls Online does have issues. In my 2 months with the game now, I've encountered a few things that I want to point out, and these are a combination of issues and annoyances, but remember, these are my opinions and it's my job as a reviewer to point them out in a fair and balanced way. I do understand that there will be people who disagree with me, and that's fine. And I feel like I have to make this very clear again. I'm not here to review the Elder Scrolls Online as an Elder Scrolls game, as a lot of comments in the first video pointed out. I review MMOs, folks. I talk about the good and the bad. I'm not here to talk about why this game is or isn't Skyrim. Capiche? Alright, let's begin. One of the first issues I encountered didn't even happen in-game. Even before my first time seeing the login screen, in fact. The ESO launcher was my enemy for weeks. For those of you that remember, I had to delay my ESO leveling streams to the end of last December because the launcher refused to install or update on my previous computer. At the time, I disregarded it as a one-off, and thankfully I managed to finally get it going by switching computers. However, a lot of gamers out there are not so lucky, and having done more research, I found that the launcher issue is actually pretty widespread and gives gamers various different problems, especially if downloading through Steam. The irony, right? Because being on Steam is one of the reasons I endorsed the game. Some players can't update the game after a new patch, while others can't install the game on one disk drive and had to move the download to another drive in order to get the game installing. Then there's the apparently famous error codes ranging from error 210 to error 102 that ESO veterans have been telling me about. With reports and posts on their Facebook page and the official forums about these issues at such a high volume, the launcher issue should warrant a closer inspection from ZeniMax Online and perhaps fix the launcher or get it upgraded to an optimal state. If new players can't even get into the game because of technical problems that are beyond their control, that's bad news. And the second thing I want to talk about is bugs and slow fixes. I get it that the focus is on delivering new content and I applaud that, but sometimes potentially game-breaking bugs do need priority. During my leveling experience in the early level zone of Betnik for the Daggerfall Covenant, one NPC that I needed to talk to finish a quest went missing for almost 2 weeks. It felt like a buzzkill to me because I am a completionist when it comes to zone quests and wanted to finish the quest before moving on to the next zone. What troubled me was 1. ZeniMax Online made no communication attempts on any channel to acknowledge the bug and state that they are working on a fix, and 2. That it took them 2 weeks to sort this issue out silently. I said potentially game-breaking because this could have been a major turnoff for new players, and first impressions do matter, especially for an MMO. Imagine what would happen if 1 Tamriel did not exist, and you needed this quest for the level experience and as closure to the zone story before moving on, and can't complete it because the NPC is missing. That would have driven me nuts. So in a way, thank goodness for 1 Tamriel and that we could move on to the next zone with the option to come back and finish the quest and get rewarded for it too when it's fixed. But I think ZeniMax Online got off lightly here because I can only imagine how many other bugs there are in other zones that I don't know about that take ages to fix. I definitely feel that there needs to be a quicker response to issues like this on top of communication. ZeniMax, you guys have dug yourselves out of a hole over the last 3 years, so if you could just put a little more effort into the bug squashing and covering the basics, then you guys would be good to go. There was another issue I wanted to talk about, which is PvP. But I'll be very honest with you guys, I didn't feel comfortable talking about PvP because I've barely gotten my feet wet in Cyrodiil and I've been so busy with my new job that I can't really put the time into it. And I've heard so much about the PvP issues from so many sources like veterans and ex-players that I've talked to, on top of reading what's on the forums, Steam, Reddit, everywhere really. And there seems to be a wide range of PvP-centric issues, some related to lag, others to the combat system, and some about the dynamics of soloing versus grouping in the open map map that has lore books and sky shards, and the consequences of the two playstyles clashing. There's just so many variables that it's hard to split what are the core issues from the subjective player preferences, and it would be easy to do that if I had been playing since launch and experienced these things for myself. So I highly suggest to new players that you do a little bit of research and watch some of the PvP videos that talk about this here on YouTube if you need more information. Alrighty, now let's move on to the annoyance category, and these are more subjective and are based on my experiences in this MMO, so take it with a pinch of salt bae. And the number one annoyance for me is the search function on the guild stores, or more appropriately, the lack of a search by name function. This drives me up the wall. The current search features for the ESO guild stores are a pain to navigate through, and I can't help but ask myself, why wasn't a search box with the ability to search by name or keyword included? Almost every other MMORPG out there uses one. The problem for me with the current search function is that you have so many filters to meddle with to get to the category of item that you want, and when there are so many items, rarities, and categories in the game on top of crafting materials, this becomes a chore. Now, I'm not a technical expert nor a coding guru, so I don't know how hard it is to implement this feature in the game, but I honestly think the whole guild store system could definitely use a better search function now to make the ease of buying and selling items bearable. But hang on a minute, there are add-ons that helps a lot with the searching, so that mitigates the issues, right? Yeah, I'm not letting ZeniMax get off that easy. I tip my hat off to the add-on community for their creativity, time, and effort that they put into enhancing the experience, but this one's on ZeniMax for overlooking something so rudimentary. And please don't give me that crap that, oh, it's intentional design to make the game more Elder Scrolls-y. Alright, for the UI, I accept. For not having a minimap, I accept. For the player economy guild stores, nonsense. If you decide to make an MMO, you've got to have the basic features and functions that make certain aspects of your game conveniently functional by MMORPG standards. So give us that search box, ZeniMax. And the final annoyance I have so far with the Elder Scrolls Online is pretty minor, but it's still important to me. It's the cosmetic system. I've said it before and I'll say it again, if I look good, I play good. So what I find irksome about ESO's outfitting is that it's split into three. You have the wearable armors, and the dedicated full body costume slot and hat, and a disguise slot, which is irrelevant for this discussion. It's not very flexible because you don't have dedicated cosmetic or costume slots to save individual armor pieces to make several different outfits. This means that for the costume slot, you can only wear a full piece that is categorized as a costume, and these are found either in the store or through achievements. As for armor, the cosmetics you wear are dictated by the armor pieces you have on. So there isn't the freedom to mix and match different pieces of different race motifs to save them in a dedicated costume slot to bring it up and wear it whenever you want. You can still do this, but this means you'll have to literally craft the individual pieces of armor and carry them around in your bags. On top of that, it could mess with your build too. If you have 7 pieces of heavy Imperial armor on, but see an awesome looking light armor piece that you want to have on as a cosmetic, you need to give up that one heavy armor slot and will be forced to wear a piece of light armor just for the look. So yeah, I really wished ESO had dedicated armor cosmetic slots where you could individually store pieces of armor and wear them as cosmetic. I think I've been spoiled by other MMOs that executes their cosmetic systems better. Hopefully we could see this implemented sometime in the future, and that would be awesome because the Elder Scrolls Online has some really good armor designs for the races of Tamriel on top of a pretty good and robust dice system. And that wraps up part 2 of my coverage for the Elder Scrolls Online. I'm sure I've missed a whole bunch of things to talk about, but do keep in mind I only share what I experience. So if you've got your own issues and annoyances, then you know where to put it, in the comments. Overall, I've had a blast in ESO. There's so many positives. It's a great MMO to play, and there are some issues too, like what I just covered about. So should there be any more positives I uncover as I play through the game, I'll be sure to talk about it here, and I'll do the same for the negatives as well, so stay tuned to the channel. So if you enjoyed the content, give the video a like and do subscribe to the channel for more MMO videos. Once again, my name is GRM Adrian, and I thank you for watching. Oh, bloody hell, it's you again. Well, don't just stand there. If you want to subscribe to the channel, click the button in the middle. If you want to watch more videos, click the cards to the left or to the right. Now bugger off and go bother somebody else.